Now that we've been through the hassle of actually saving our favorites and updating them, we now need to show the existing favorites in a list when we press that heart button on the home screen. Luckily for us, most of the work has already been done. Open up the data model.qml and let's have a look through here. Let's find out where we created our listings model. So we've got this function in the private member that gives us our data, the source and the pass values, and we return a map of that source. And that was our data model that we return. Now recall that we're saving these favorites to basically a JSON string, which is exactly like the model we get from the internet, or the data we get from the internet. So in effect, our listings model, our listings page, if you like, has already been created. All we have to do is pass the data. And the only difference between the two kinds of pages is whether we say this is just data or this is data that I want you to get from my favorites. Okay, so we need to access these listings. And we're going to do that at the top here. So we're going to have, once again, a read-only property, which var is called favorite listings, mind your spelling. And what's this going to do? Well, that's just going to head over to our create listings model in the private member. And what's it going to ask for? Well, what we want to get is our favorite listings values. And should we parse these out, then true. So if we just scroll back down to that function, so there we go. So what we're doing, because we're storing this as a JSON string, we actually need to parse it out into actual JavaScript objects. So that's why we say parse true or false, because when we get it from the internet, we're all set. But in this case, we're not. So we have to say, hey, this is a string, make it into an object. So that's why we're passing in true there. Okay, now how and where do we actually show these favorite listings? Well, if we open up the search page, we're kind of already set up for this. So we have our heart icon, and when we click that, we're going to fire off this show listings. Now let's check this show listings method out. Show listings, favorites. I'm just going to change that to an O. I'm going to change everything to just an O. Favorites. So what we're doing is we're passing over true for favorites. So that's going to go and fire off our list page component. And remember, that is here. And it's going to pass over the favorites. So let's open up the list page component, or the listings list page rather. Let's make sure favorites is the correct spelling. It is. And so this is going to decide on which data source we're going to use. So if you look down at the model when we're creating the JSON list model, it's going to look at favorites. And if that's true, it's going to pick up the data model.favorite listings. Or if it's not true, it'll get the listings that we originally passed to the data model from the internet results. Okay, so that should just about do it, I think. Let's just save this search page and let's fire up the live player. So now when we click the heart button, we have no favorites, but the favorites page does open and we have no errors. So let's search for some properties in Liverpool. Let's save it, go back, open this one, save it, go back, and one more, go back. Now we can click the favorites button and we have our properties. And because we're recycling these pages and lists, we have all the functions that we had before, and the data structure is consistent amongst them. So that allows us to reuse them quite easily. So let's open up this one. I can click heart, heart, and if I go back, it's still there. But if I click it off, and I go back, it has now been removed from our list of favorites. But there's a problem. When I hit stop, start, guess what? That array has been purged from memory. So now we have no favorites, which is no good. You will get plenty of bad reviews if you do that to your users. So in the next lecture, let's see how we fix it.